Hi everyone, my name is Liza Spirit. I'm a futures day trader and welcome to my YouTube channel. And today in this video, I'm going to share with you guys how do I journal and analyze my trades. And I'm going to share with you different prompts that you can use as well that can help you and guide you in your journaling, in your day-to-day analysis or weekly or on a monthly basis. And just a little bit of a background when it comes to my journaling. I've been journaling since like age of 11, 12. I found back maybe half a year ago my journal from the age of 12 where I would write down my whole plan for the day, things I need to do, things on my to-do list, and some reflections on the day as well. So I've been doing it quite some time when it comes to life in general. So when I started trading, that was kind of a normal thing. I created a separate trading journal. I had a separate notebook where I would analyze my trades, where I would sit down and write all of the key levels, what is on my watch list. So I had it over there. And then I had a separate journal for my self-observations, like spiritual growth, and then another one when it comes to like day-to-day tasks and different things I need to do, like work-related stuff. And I will have all of those three journals together. And that's why for me, journaling has been always part of my life. That's always something that I've been doing for a long time, and I've never had problems in journaling. And when it comes to trading, as I said before, that was kind of, I started right away doing that, but on paper, using the notebook and pen and writing it all down and doing the post-trading reflections as well. How did the day go for me? How I would rate it on a scale from 1 to 10. And I'm going to give you all of the prompts as well in this video that can help you and guide you and ask you all of those questions. And then after a few months, I started feeling a little bit limited when it comes to the paper version of journaling. That's when I moved and switched to the digital journal when it comes to TradeZella. I don't know if you guys used it, but I've been with TradeZella for quite some time, almost 2 years at this point. In 2025, June, I believe it's going to be almost 2 years. And that was a game changer for me because of extra features that are available there. You can add different tags, you can attach the screenshots as well, you can highlight it in colors, and most importantly for me, it was data. So I could put all my data together in one space. I love data. I love analyzing the data, looking and finding some similarities, looking at some patterns as well. So collecting the data, I would export the data from my broker and I would import all of this to TradeZella. And after a month of data and analysis, I could sit down and see the whole month of data, what worked, what did not work, what instrument worked for me, what instrument didn't work for me, what about my entries and exit in terms of the time. Maybe I entered prematurely. What about the losses? What about the wins? Are there any, I don't know, correlations between the time, between the instruments? So I would dive deeper into looking at all of those details and seeing what is working, what's not. That's why in my first year I was journaling excessively. I would literally spend maybe an hour, hour and a half every single day, then a few hours over the weekend. So roughly on average about 10 hours a week just journaling and understanding what's working, what's not working, what are the mistakes that I've been making and how I could improve them as well. Nowadays, I don't journal that much. I don't spend that much of a time on journaling as I used to do it in the past. And the whole reason for that in my first year, I did so much of the journaling and analysis. And when it comes to strategies, I tested out different strategies and I would journal to see if it's working, if it's not working. That's why for now, because I have my strategy, I established my strategy, I have clear rules, I have clear understanding in terms of the instruments I trade, the time of the day I trade, and I already see my mistakes or problems, like similar patterns where I'm struggling during the day, and I observe them right away. Like I am very self-aware at this point, and at the end of the day, I will just go to my broker, I would export the data. I still do that daily, that part I do daily, and probably spend roughly about like 15 minutes max to analyze the trade and analyze the day overall. So not that much of a time I'm spending right now, but definitely when you are just starting out in your first year, that's something that you have to do on a regular basis, day to day, and moving forward as well. If you've been trading for many years now, it still needs to be part of your routine, because without us reflecting and analyzing, how we're gonna know how we can improve later on in the future? How can we make sure that we do not repeat the same mistakes over and over if we don't sit down and reflect? For me, that process is very fast. I can see my mistakes and problems and areas for improvement pretty fast, just being a very self-aware person overall. So that's why I'm not spending as much of a time as I used to spend in the past, because I just don't see a need for that right now. So let's move to the prompts that can help you and guide you in your journaling part. I broke them down into 6 different sections. And the first one is your trade setup and your execution. So in this first block, you ask yourself, did you follow your setup? And if yes, what was the setup? Do you have a specific name for that setup? Or is there specific reasons why you entered? What were the criteria for entering, for exit as well? How was the execution? Did you execute your, like from a scale from 1 to 10, did you execute your entry well? What about the exit as well? Was it based on your setup or no? What were the reasons for those entries and exits? I want you to write them down. What about the strategy? What about the plan? Did you follow your pre-market plan? Did you follow your plan overall for the day? Maybe it was a big news day, maybe it was a CPI day, and your plan was not to trade at all. But for some reasons, you decided to trade, you decided to chase the market. Okay, even so, if you did that, what would be those criteria for exits and entries? Or there was nothing in place, you just entered for the sake of entry. So the first block is all related to your setup, to all your rules, to all your criteria, and your execution part. Because sometimes I know for me, I can enter the trade and based on my strategy, based on my plan, based on my setup, there were no questions asked to that part. But my execution is not ideal when it comes, I don't know, to exiting the trade. Maybe my setup was there, but I didn't enter because of this and this and this reason. I did not exit because of this and this reason, because I was greedy maybe and my emotions came into play. So that's what I want you to write in the first section, is your trade setup and your trade execution. Next one is we move to our risk management. How did you do today in terms of the risk management? What about your stop losses and profit targets in general? Did you follow your stop loss, or did you move your stop loss several times? Or maybe you canceled your stop loss at all. What was your risk to reward ratio? What was it realized, right? You can also do that in TradeZella, for example. If you use it, you can set it up. What was your planned profit? What was your realized exit and entry as well? So I want you to write it down in terms of the risk management. Maybe risk management was not the best today. Maybe the setup was there, but the risk management part, you just totally forgot about it. You did not follow your stop loss strategy. Maybe your stop loss usually is like 5 points, but you decided to move it to 10. Why did you do that? How much money did you risk to make, I don't know, what you made? Or maybe you lost, right? And maybe you didn't follow your stop loss strategy plan on that day at all. So the second component is the risk management part. The section number 3 is psychological and emotional states. How did you feel emotionally on that day? Did you let your emotions to take over you and take control over you? Maybe you were greedy and you didn't close your position. Maybe you had revenge trading. Maybe because you lost in the first place, you started revenge trading and trying to make that money back. Maybe you caught yourself feeling too uncomfortable with the size. Maybe you entered with 5 contracts and all this time you were feeling so stressed because of the size. You were uncomfortable with the size. So write that down as well. What about FOMO? Maybe you saw the market moving based on the news or something and you started chasing and you're like, oh, The market is moving without me. I gotta enter. And because you started chasing, because you had that FOMO, that ended up being a losing trade because you let your emotions control you. How did you handle the losses? If you had a loss on that day, how did you handle it? Did you beat yourself down? Did you negatively talk to yourself? What about your emotional state? Do you feel anxious? Do you feel depressed about losing? So I want you to write down in this section all the emotions, all the feelings, all the psychological aspects that you experience during this day trading session, and just literally write it all down and acknowledge that. Because if every single day you're gonna put it like, let's say on Monday I was greedy and I didn't close my position on time, and on Tuesday and on Wednesday, so you start seeing a similar pattern of you being greedy every single day, that it's something that you need to focus on and consider for the future. But for this section, I want you to write down all the emotional states before entering the trade, during the trade, after the trade, overall after the day. How are you feeling and what emotions you have experienced during the specific time of the day and during your trading session. The section number 4 is related to market overall, like overall market conditions and context. What about the data? Were there any news? How was the market overall? What is a trend for that specific day? Maybe on that specific day, market was just moving sideways and trading in a range. Maybe on that day there was a bullish trend, maybe a bearish trend. What about the news? Maybe Trump said something, that's how market reacted. In what conditions was the market on that specific day? So write down the context of the market. How are you feeling overall? Look at different stocks, for example. Look at different tickers so you can get the overall idea and understanding of the market. What about the volume? What about the liquidity during the whole trading session? Maybe the market was closed on the date, but you were still trading, let's say, futures, and the volume was low. How the market was moving? Was there any trades? Maybe you should have skipped that day at all. There was no reason to trade and no reason to enter. The market is closed, there was no volume, and the whole question, why did you decide to trade on that day, right? So I want you to write overall picture of the market. How was the market overall based on some data, news, economic events happening, Trump tweeting, and like all of the political situations that are happening. So you write it down in the section number 4. For section number 5. 5 is related to your mistakes and lessons. We did the whole analysis during the previous 4 sections. We did the analysis of our emotions, of our execution. We did the analysis of our setups as well, if we followed the rules or not. And then the section number 5, I want you to now reflect on all of this and come up with the conclusions in terms of your main mistakes and your main lessons, your main key takeaways. So literally just write it down in a bullet point. What is my main key takeaway for today? What is my main lesson for today? And sometimes, usually I would have 2 to 3 main lessons. I would find out, like, let's say it's a news day. Today was a news day, today was a CPI day, and I should have avoided trading on that day. So my main lesson is to avoid trading on those days, to skip those days, to not look at the market at all. That's my main lesson. Main lessons to avoid trading before, I don't know, 7 a.m. Pacific time, before, like, don't trade in the first half an hour of market open, because there's nothing good personally for you coming out of this. I'm just sharing from my personal example because I don't trade in the first half an hour. So that's your lesson. That's your main key takeaway. Your mistakes that you made. What about your emotions? Revenge trading. Maybe you found, like, yes, I could see that emotions played a huge role today and I was revenge trading. And maybe your lesson and your key takeaway is, when you feel that you start revenge trading, is to close your laptop or shut down your computer and leave and just go for a walk and just do, I don't know, breathing exercises, meditation, so you can step away from the screens. That's your major lesson and a key takeaway. So that's for section number 5. And there's section number 6 coming out of this. It's for the future improvements. What you should do differently next time, maybe when it comes to discipline as well. Maybe you were not disciplined enough during the day and you didn't follow your plan. Maybe you were not patient enough and you realized that from section number 5 is that you did not hold your winners long enough. You did not wait to enter and you rushed your entry. And maybe going into the next trading session, your main improvement and area of focus is to be more patient. Do not rush. Stay calm, and maybe if you feel like you are starting to chase the market, maybe step away for a few minutes, come back, clear your head, and that's going to be your improvement and your focus going into the new day. What about the strategy? Maybe in your whole overall recap, you found out that the strategy you've been trading is not working. Maybe going into the next trading session, your area of improvement is to try something else, and you write down what you're going to do differently. So I want you to write all of those places and areas for improvement for your future trading as well. And that's technically it for your trade recap and your analysis of the day and reflection on the day. Maybe it sounds like a lot, but it's actually not a lot. You just need to sit down and dedicate your time to do that. And if we recap it all, so you start with your trade setup and execution and your strategy. How did it go? Then we move to the risk management in terms of your stop losses and the risk reward ratio as well. Then the psychological and emotional well-being during the day and post-trade as well. Then we move to our overall market analysis, like where was the market during the day. Then we move to our main key lessons and takeaways for that day based on whatever we just reflected, and how we're gonna change that and how we're gonna improve our trading going into the next week or into the next trading session. The last part is very important, because if we don't focus on how we can learn from those mistakes, how we can improve in the future, we're just gonna feel stuck in the same place. That's the whole point of why we journal, because we want to understand how we can improve. Without journaling, without analyzing, without reflecting, we will just be stuck. We're just gonna go in circles. Yes, you act. Yes, you do a lot of things. You have these motions, but it's that part that you need to get out of that circle in order to progress in life, in order to go higher and higher and higher and achieve better results. You just gotta break that circle, and the only way how you can break that circle is to understand how can you improve and what is your action plan for improvements. So I hope that was helpful for you guys, and I want you to write down in the comments if you journal and if you reflect, how is that going for you, and let me know what you feel about those trading journaling prompts that I just shared with you guys. You can also reflect the same way on your day, like key lessons and takeaways on your day, non-trading related. That's also another thing that you can do. But thank you everyone for watching, and I'm gonna see you in my next videos, and I wish you all amazing journaling, amazing reflections and analysis of your trade, because again, without analyzing, without looking at your data, without looking at your trades, we will be stuck. We're not gonna progress until we start looking at the places and looking at all of those points of improvement, right? Without acknowledging that, I'm sorry, you just screwed up, you just fucked up completely, and you need to get your stuff together and improve, right? So remove your ego. That's a huge part. Remove your ego. There's no place for ego when it comes to trading. You got to see and be honest with yourself and say to yourself, like, yes, I screwed up right now. Yes, I made these mistakes. Yes, I was greedy. Yes, I was chasing the market. Yes, I didn't follow my plan. Be honest with yourself. The moment you're honest with yourself and real with yourself, that's when things will start changing. Until then, if you're gonna keep on thinking that you're doing amazing and you're the best and blaming the market, that's another point that I've seen many people do. They blame the market. The market is at fault of everything. Nope, it's your risk management, it's your execution, and it's you how you can handle all of those traits and emotions in place, and how you become stronger next day. Yes, things happen, and market and Trump tweeting also happens, but how can you handle all of this? It depends on you. So don't blame market, don't blame anyone around you. It's only you who is in control. And the point when you realize that, that's when your trading is going to change. So ownership and owning up for you messing up with some things, that's a huge point. And in order to progress, you got to own up and find the ways how you can improve in the future. Okay, so thank you again everyone for watching, and I'm gonna see you all in my next video. And have an amazing time reflecting on your trading and analyzing all your trades as well.